Broads Media.
No! 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 No way. No! No! No way! No way. No way. No. 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 How? How is that the way we lost? For about 47 and a half minutes, I thought the Sixers cleaned up their act. The Knicks weren't killing you on the glass as much. Tobias was playing strong defensively in the fourth quarter. Maxey was out of his mind. The dude's hooked up to IVs and can barely move the night before. That dude cooks and cooks in the fourth. It was awesome for it all to be ruined, not by what happened after the missed timeout. It all got ruined by the missed timeout. This isn't the same as criticizing a ref for missing a charge or a block, calling it the wrong way, accidentally blowing a whistle with a ticky-tack call, whatever, right? This isn't the same as being a bad ref in the game flow. This clearly has some sort of intention behind it, whether it's betting. I think it's to that. That's how bad of a call it is when Nick Nurse, prior to Kyle Lowry inbounding the ball, is on the sidelines calling a timeout. Part of your job as a ref is understanding situational basketball, knowing the time, knowing the shot clock, knowing everything that's supposed to be happening in game. And if you know you're in the playoffs when the Sixers have a lead and a timeout with how much time was left on the clock, that the coach is going to call a timeout. You know it's coming. So for the coach to do it, and for there to be no acknowledgement, none, you have to actually do an investigation. Because there's a lot of money on these games. That's how egregious it is that I'm questioning if someone is making this corrupt. That doesn't mean when it happened, the Sixers shouldn't be better. I don't want to see Hartenstein get a big-time offensive rebound. I don't want to see another doink shot that goes off the rim and falls for Brunson after he had another piss-poor game. He shot 8 of 29. So let me get this straight. How come Hart can come alive and he could be a special player, yet the Sixers have Buddy Hield, who forgot how to play the damn sport? Buddy Hield sucks right now. Buddy Hield is playing worse than Ben Simmons ever did, worse than Tobias has played. The dude doesn't know how to ball. Kelly Oubre was bad. Batum is what he is. My point is, it's Joel Embiid on one leg, and you can see the impact that happens when he gets to the third or fourth quarter. He breaks down. He looks spry in the first and second. This guy's hopping around on one leg. There was a sequence in the fourth quarter that told you everything you needed to know about how this was going to go. He can give you maybe the first half of really strong ball, but it'll fizzle out. So you need somebody else. They're getting Josh Hart. They're getting Hartenstein with these push shots right around the paint area. That's how they're getting contributors going. We need contributors. But Joel Embiid at the top of the three-point line turned it over. He had a couple of bad possessions in the fourth. I will acknowledge that. But when he turns it over and tries to get back in transition, he's hobbling like he's got one leg. He's got Zippo left. And Maxey's doing everything in his power in the fourth. Where's anybody I'll give you the praise, Toby, for some of your defensive efforts. It would be nice, though, to actually add some value offensively in scoring in the second half. Made a couple of shots in the first. We went, all right, Toby. And he had that big offensive rebound, a good defensive rebound in the fourth quarter. Okay, Toby. But these two are begging for some help. Jalen Brunson hasn't been a factor all 2 games long. So how are you losing to the Knicks? You can't get beat by the others. This team's falling apart. I don't believe you recover from these type of losses. Not these. This team isn't mentally strong enough. Maybe others. Maybe if you add LeBron in his prime going to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 straight NBA Finals appearances. Hey, they got the DNA to know that they can respond to a gut punch because we have 2 home games left. We'll tie this fucker up and we'll be good. That's sort of the message, right? I mean, if you have a core that you know has been through the grind before, this team, at all teams, is the last team that could ever get through a ride like this. Seriously. It's not going to be any easier when Buddy Hield touches the ball at home. It's not going to be any easier when Toby touches the ball at home. It probably won't be good for Joel Embiid if he starts to break down even more because, well, now that you play 2 games, 3, 4, 5, I bet you it gets uglier. That life in the beginning of the game probably starts to dwindle where maybe he gets a first good half the first 2 games in New York. Then, because of the wear and tear, you get a good quarter and a half a quarter in game 3. And then game 4 might be just a good quarter. And when I say good, I'm not talking about shooting well versus not shooting well. I'm talking about the eye test physically. Does his body look breaking down? Not so much is he scoring, because that's different. I'm talking about how it looks. Are both of his knees in the spots it's supposed to be in? Or is his one leg kicking out because it's on pretty much a piece of string? And it's not just the knee, because I don't know anybody in the world that gets their eyes poked and then has to wear sunglasses for days. And then he's doing warm-ups and the shoot around and he's got sunglasses on. Do you know anybody that's been poked in the eye so bad that they had to put on special glasses? I got to imagine something worse is even going on there too. Maybe that's just me being a Debbie Downer and just feeling the emotional pain right now, but I've been through a lot of poked eyes in my day, and it's normally a 2-minute rub. Hell, I watched the UFC. These dudes go for the jugular and try and knock each other out for 5 fucking rounds. They poke him in the eye. It's like, hey, oh, time out. The dude needs 3 seconds, and he's ready to throw again. Yet, Joel's got the sunglasses on. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Even though, oh no, is Max even going to play? And all that nonsense because he wasn't there for the shoot around either with an illness? When can it be normal? When can I just enjoy basketball again in my life? Instead, it's this? What is this? When the ball was in the air leaving Dante's hands, come on, everybody knew. I felt like the whole world was moving because it was going to happen. I knew it. I knew it was going to explode. I knew it. Should have never happened, though. I want a real investigation. I want jail time. Locked up for life. Life! Call timeout. This is to the same level as when the Saints played the Rams in the NFC Championship game and the most obvious pass interference call to ever exist in sports history happened and the wrong call was made. That's exactly how bad this is. Yeah. It's a shame, man, Kyle Lowry playing with balls. Whew. I'll tell you what, we ripped him in Toronto for a long time. We always said he's so annoying. All he does is bitch. The guy's a warrior. If you told me he was 31, I would believe you. Dude's almost 40 years old, diving full speed for a loose ball that he gets with the deflection and a steal. The ball's going out about. This guy's flying into cameras, into people. Doesn't give a damn. He's getting offensive boards on the other side, too. Dude's an actual piss missile is what he is. Just flies around nonstop. He's a winning player. And we don't get to highlight it and value it as much as we want because of the disastrous ending. There were a couple sequences that irked me, but that's going to happen when you have two close teams that are very tight fighting for a basketball game. But, man, when Maxey had the ball and it's getting ripped out of his hand, it might have been McBride. It might have been McBride, because if I remember correctly, I heard the fans go, boo! Oh, not boo, sorry. Deuce! They should have been booing him. Deuce! So Maxey just gets crushed and the ball ripped out of his damn hands. If it wasn't McBride, I apologize. But doesn't matter who it is. Now let's get to the strategy of Nick Nurse. They are doing a phenomenal job stopping Brunson and their MVP. Josh Hart is not some special weapon. So allowing for him to let it rip and fly again to see if game one was a fluke or not is okay. But then I asked the question because I love Paul Hudrick to death. Love him. I think he's a beautiful basketball mind. And he was tweeting about maybe second half adjustments. And one of the things he brought up, he covers the Sixers for Liberty Ballers, by the way. Used to be with NBC Sports Philadelphia, if you're unfamiliar, but you should get familiar because he's awesome at what he does. But one of the things he brought up is I almost said Jalen Hart. If Josh Hart is going to shoot maybe 8 for 10 from 3 and just go bananas, balls to the wall, excellent, you tip your cap. You don't take any pressure off of Brunson, so then Brunson can destroy you and their best player can get going. If you die because you said, go ahead, dude who's been somewhat this year from 3, low 30% from 3, not that much of an insane piece as you have it. Let's see if you can continue that. Live with that over getting Brunson established, because once he gets established, who knows? That could snowball into a few games in a row. Whereas right now, he's still trying to figure out his game. Although, I'm sure he's taking the team approach going, I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's Hart. I don't care if it's OG. I don't care if it's DiVincenzo. I don't care who it is. I don't care what my field goal percentage was. We got the dub. He's a ball handler and a facilitator, and that's what he does. I'd imagine that Villanova, the whole thing. I mean, that screams. If I had to take a wild guess on how Jalen Brunson would approach this, do you think I give a damn if the Sixers are technically shutting me down from shooting when we're winning now and up 2-0? So that was a big game for the Knicks. They did not deserve to win the one. I can make the argument that I don't think the Knicks really deserved to win either of these first 2 games, and they did. And that's problematic, by the way, because if that happens once in a series, okay, but if it happens both and in the fashion that it did today, with as gut-wrenching and below the belt this feels, well, it intensifies heavily. I'm curious if we have any report from the Stripes, because I'd have to imagine that they have to make a public announcement about this. I see all the screenshot of Brunson ripping Tyrese Maxey's jersey on the inbound. Yeah, I mean, that is missed as well, but that doesn't upset me as much as the timeout does. Truly. Now, I see Joel Embiid spoke after the game, so I'm going to react to some of the audio with you live. I didn't know if we were going to get anything solid, and I don't know if this is solid or not. It'll be a blind react. But I do want to hear what he thinks about this, because it's crazy. All right, let's take a listen to Nick Nurse. Here's Nick Nurse on the whole entire sequence of what happened during the final stages and the lack of a timeout call. Here it is.
Well, the first thing is obviously they score. We take a look at getting it in quick. We don't get it in quick. I call timeout. Referee looked right at me, ignored me. went into Tyrese. I called timeout again. Then the melee started, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess I got to run out onto the floor or do something to make sure and get his attention. But I needed a timeout there to advance it. Would have been good, but couldn't get it.
Did he say anything to you or an explanation why? Or?
There was no time to talk about it. Matt, you can ask him if you want to. See if he saw me call timeout. I just watched the film just to make sure. And I'm clearly calling timeout. I didn't see if he looked at me in the film, but I could see me clearly calling timeout twice.
Yeah, no, I mean, he definitely did. That's for damn sure. All right, that's on the front of Nick Nurse. Joel Embiid says, okay, I'll let you listen to this one. I just see the actual caption with the video. I wish I didn't read the caption so I could react with you. Take a listen to what Joel Embiid just said post-game in the locker room.
And sing around.
We should be 2-0, so we good. We're gonna win this series. We gonna win this. We know what we gotta fix. We did a better job today, so we gonna fix it. But we're the better team, and we gonna keep fighting.
I don't hate that. I really don't hate that. You might laugh at it, you might mock it. Here's the one thing I will say that I don't like. And you can't see this because I'm just playing the audio, but he's looking down with sort of a slumped body language, not looking anybody in the face, twirling his hair. Look, I wasn't feeling good myself when the game was all wrapped up, all right? So I'm not going to act like he shouldn't be very upset, very disappointed. He's probably feeling it 80,000 times more than I am. I couldn't imagine what it was like on that floor. But if you are going to go down with those words and those comments, which I like, by the way, I do thoroughly enjoy it. We got the report by Chris Haynes prior to the game that this team had a real heart discussion during film study when they saw what the Knicks were doing rebounding. They came together and had a moment, and that played. I thought that showed they definitely had a different level of emphasis on the boards, on the glass. They did not get hurt by it as much in totality. They got hurt by it in a very timely spot, though. So it did still show its ugly head. That's what the New York Knicks do, though. That's why they were one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the entire league this season. They are scrappy. They're relentless. They never stop. So, yeah, they're going to have it here and there. What you can't do is let it consume and absorb the entire game like game one. And then when the game matters most with the game on the line, you have to bear down. You got to show toughness, and they didn't. So I have no issue with Embiid thinking that they should be 2-0, making a statement like we're going to win this series. I actually love that. And the reason why I brought up the film study stuff is, whether it's Maxey, whether it's Lowry, whether it's Embiid, it's just the leadership qualities of this team. So for Joel to also show leadership, we're not done. This isn't over. Oh, this is good. I just wish it looked more appealing. So I think he believes it. But it shows to me a 7 out of 10 on the belief scale, where if he looked at the cameras, acknowledged everyone, had more confidence with saying it, then maybe it would be more 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. That's my personal opinion when I actually see the clips physically, just being honest. All right, here's more on Joel Embiid and the refs, and maybe if Tyrese Maxey was fouled and anything else that happened during that wild sequence.
Yes, Joel, I guess your thoughts on how the game ended tonight.
Unacceptable. Tyrese got fouled, a couple times. We just had the same thing happen against Miami with Tyler Hero. That's just unacceptable to, put us in that situation. That's fucking unacceptable to lose a game like this, especially in the playoffs. So,
Joel, did you think you guys had, set aside if you thought it was a foul, did you think you guys had gotten a timeout in?
Yes, we did. Everybody on the floor was trying to call a timeout, myself included, Nico, coach on the sideline. But they didn't give it to us. But, forget about the timeout. There's a bunch of fouls. Like I said, that's fucking unacceptable.
All right, so that's from Joel Embiid. I apologize for maybe not being the most crisp audio in the world. That was courtesy of PHLY Sixers. I believe that was Kyle Neubeck behind asking that second question there. So, I mean, I agree. There were some missed calls there. But once again, in that same clip, Joel, head down. And I'm not one of the big haters of Joel Embiid. I stand up for him 99.9% of the time, but I can't shy away from. I didn't like the optics of that one. And the optics is always over-abused with Embiid. People say he doesn't care, he doesn't try. No, he cares a lot, and he tries very hard. That's where I don't like it. In regards to maybe trying to inspire the team and showing that fire and that acknowledgement of, this thing fucking crushed us, but we ain't going to roll over and die and show that attitude and edge. I love the idea behind it. I don't know if I necessarily love the execution, because there is an not eyesore. It becomes an eyesore if it's not the way it should be, but there is an appealing style to this physically as well. Not just the audio, not just what he's saying, it's how he says it too. That type of leadership stuff matters, and I didn't feel it as much as I wanted to feel it with those quotes, but I like his approach. I hope all that makes sense. I think I danced around it enough for you to kind of understand. But anyway, that's some of the locker room stuff. Let's get to you, the people. Let's listen to the Anytime Hotline on what that game was. Wow, 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 wow. It really happened, people.
Bros, if that was not Philadelphia sports summed up in the span of 1 minute, I don't know what was. I hope you enjoyed WrestleMania, because now our sports teams are cursed for the next 20 years, and already on top of the 20 years that we had to sacrifice for this fucking Super Bowl. This is unbelievable. Like, what the fuck? This is the worst rebounding team that I've ever seen, ever. Like, this team, they're not going to win. They're going to get swept. This team is awful. This team is awful. They're so bad. Like, Maxey was great, and Embiid doesn't look right. He can't look right at the playoffs every year. Like, what are we doing, bros? Oh, my God, I can't take it anymore. I can't believe we lost like that. Knicks fans are never going to shut up. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, the Knicks fans are horrible people. I thought they were supposed to be smart basketball fans. They love scrappy. They love toughness, right? They're all about it. They'll probably tell you that what Jalen Brunson did at the end of the game wasn't a foul, but then they want a foul call on Joel Embiid for accidentally running into Hart or DiVincenzo, whoever it was, and they're just like tinier bitches. There's tinier people, so when you run into a Mack truck, you're going to fall. Embiid sucks. Boo! Actually, it was fuck Embiid, right? We're trashy people, but they're throwing F-bombs at the big fella. I could only imagine what that's like. Man, I would flip all of them off. I'd flip all of them off. But those fans, they're clueless. They know nothing. They just act stupid is what they do. I mean, they act so dumb in the street. They don't know how to act. I mean, they are so out of touch with playoffs that they don't even know how to act. We've been here and in very painful spots, but it's just night and day. And I mean that. But dude, I had a blast at WrestleMania. Thank you so much for asking. I actually ordered AEW Dynasty, the pay-per-view event, last night, and I watched it this morning because I was falling asleep about halfway through or so, had a late start. Swerve is now your champion. Fantastic stuff. Thank you for asking. Yeah. No, thank you for asking. I appreciate it. I would love to talk about WWE. I got Raw, that DVR tonight. So when I'm done recording, I'm going to kick back, go hang out with my pups, and we're going to throw on some Raw, which is going to be good. Thank you for reminding me that I actually have something that will give me a lot of joy to do tonight, because there wasn't much joy watching that basketball game. You can't even make this stuff up. You can't. They lose in ways that don't even make sense, that deserve criminal investigation. That's how they're losing now. So what's next? Because this isn't it. There's more. If you think it stops here, then you do drugs. Depending on the drug, then it might be all right, but there's some drugs you should get out for. What's next?
Refs are done. I am so furious with the refs. You don't call any fucking fouls. You don't call anything. Mackey's on the ground screaming, and you don't say anything. Dude, I am livid that the refs have to forcefully corrupt the NBA playoffs for the Knicks to win the whole thing. They have to go in and just tamper with it.
They have not touched DiVincenzo all night with how many fouls he's committed, and they've said nothing. What a fucking laughing stock by the NBA officials tonight. And this is just a blow. And we should have won this game. We should have won this game. That's my claim. Bye-bye.
You should have won both games. More this game than the other game, but I'm shocked saying that because the other game, I thought you should have won as well. Things crumbled when Embiid had to go back to the locker room, and your second quarter, you score a measly 12 points. That's where it all went wrong. But I do agree with your overall sentiment that it's absurd to think, if you go back and watch, and I remember actually pretending, if I could go back in time, right? I saw one of those ticky-tack calls. I think it was it Kyle Lowry or was Tobias? It was actually pretty good defense, and there was, like, when I tell you there was zero physicality in that play, there was nothing happened. Nobody touched each other. Nothing happened. The Knicks missed a shot. They called a foul. They went to the free throw line. No contact was made. Zero. And I was thinking, man, if I went back to the 1930s and watched this game with someone who was watching hoops then, 1930s, but you got my point, just older hoop, 1970, if I showed them today's basketball and we could sit down and watch that call, I wonder what they would say. Those were my thoughts that were happening in the middle of the action. And for all of those calls throughout the entire game, and it happened for both sides. The Sixers were in favor of some awful ones. It went vice versa. Both ways. It was garbage all around because NBA officials are garbage. The end, it was way worse in favor for advantage Knicks, but during the actual flow of the game, I thought there were a couple of bad calls that really stood out to me on both sides. How you can let it play that way for all of the game, and then for that final sequence to just keep your whistles quiet. How? Because that was 15 times worse manslaughter than anything I saw you call in the second quarter. Think about when Embiid gets touched sometimes. Seriously, think about it. The pinky hits his elbow, boop, and one. Pinky accidentally touches his shoelace, boop, and one. Yeah. But that you can have happen with Maxi's jersey getting ripped out of his pants and then falling to the ground. Yeah, that can happen. Are you out of your mind?
When you make Isaiah Hartenstein look like Patrick Ewing, yeah, you're not winning this series. I mean, again, it's the same old thing with the 76ers. Joel Embiid gimping and limping, and the supporting cast around him not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, tip of the cap to Tyrese Maxey. I honestly thought when he hit that long-range three-pointer that was it. But when you can't get a rebound, when you can't inbound a basketball, when you get out-fought for every loose ball that's on the floor, that to me is the difference in the series. You know, you hear that phrase in sports that team whatever wants it more. I really think it's applicable here. The Knicks just simply want it more. They get the loose balls. They get the rebounds. They keep plays alive. You got a lot of gutless wonders on the 76ers right now. Guys that should be ashamed of themselves when they look in the mirror today. This is an inexcusable loss. They're going to lose this series, and Embiid's tank runs emptier the longer it goes, even if by chance they turn it around and win this thing. But I don't think they will. They should, by all rights, be up 2-0. Now they're down 2-0, and I think they're done.
I normally don't rule a team out until I see what they do on their home floor, even if they're down 0-2. But because of the style of this one, it's so hard to emotionally recover. I sort of feel where you're at as well with the I don't see it happening. they have enough talent to do it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did because I think it's capable. I do think they're capable of doing it. It's not impossible by any stretch of the imagination, just extremely difficult. And this team, I don't think, has the wired makeup to have the response. So I don't think they will, but it's not impossible because I think they are the more skilled team. So you go back to the work ethic thing and their style of play, it's sort of like the Flyers. The Flyers will get in on the forecheck. They'll work hard under John Tortorella. They will always throw this wave of hard work in front of you. But does that mean you always want it more? So I don't know. And I think I'm just fighting over the technicality of it. And the reality is the result is way more important. But just because their style is more of that aggressive style, does that mean that they wanted more? Because before those 30 seconds, Sixers are up. And before that shot that bounces off the iron and goes in, did the Knicks want it more? You know what I'm saying? Did the Knicks want it more prior to 30 seconds happening? I don't know. Maxey was maybe at times having possessions like you alluded to, a really deep three, and you cash in big time. Like, yeah, sometimes in the playoffs, stars have to bail you out. There's certain possessions where the other team has the answers. They play good defense, but your star puts it through the hoop and demolishes the opponent. Maybe that happens at times. Steph Curry has made a 50-foot bomb, 70-foot bomb, 90-foot bomb. Is that just a beautiful thing Steve Kerr drew up because they have an excellent team that wanted it more, or is Steph Curry amazing? So my overall question is, prior to that sequence, maybe in those 20-something seconds, yeah, with the rebound, with the way Tobias and Joel and Batum are getting up floor, it didn't look like they had the right intensity. That should fall on Nick Nurse to a degree, right? Like, if that was Doc Rivers and a few guys just started to backpedal towards midcourt and leave where the inbound's coming from and just not really paying attention with enough detail, does that go on the coach even if he's trying to call timeout? Late game situation, you got to be in the spots. You got to know what to do. Look, you can't panic. You got to be prepared because you never know time and space. You never know the situation. Do I have timeouts? Do I not have timeouts? Like, that should be already instilled in your plan. And yeah, you know, I think that criticism could go on Nick Nurse, but I don't know if I fully buy into they want it more just because their style is more flying all over the court. That's what they do. But the Sixers win a lot of games playing a different way, but that doesn't necessarily mean their way means Joel Embiid doesn't want it as much as Jalen Brunson wants it, or Tyrese Maxey doesn't want it as much as Dante DiVincenzo wants it. I think they're just as hungry. They just have different styles to their approach. If that makes sense, right? I mean, yes, when Maxey gets the ball ripped out of his hand, there are sequences where it's the case, for sure. I could probably find you 10 clips of the Knicks doing the right things, 10 clips of the Sixers doing the right things. It all just depends on the flow of the game and where the run was coming from at that time. But what a mess. What a mess this was. How do they recover? Can they recover? Will they recover? I don't know. Ew. What a brutal loss. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. Thank you all so much for suffering with as much pain as I have. Greatly appreciate it. I'll be talking to you guys soon on the next one.